All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're out in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Yeah.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of the Sports Senseis. We are so sorry we left you yesterday, but we are back today to give you all the sports news that your heart can desire now. Our girl Ruth the Truth was not here last week, but she is here this week, and we are ready to rock. We're holding it down for our girl Jay, who's not feeling well right now, since we got you. But Ruth the Truth, what's going on? How are you? What's life like? Are you ready to dive into all these amazing topics that we have going on for today's show?
Yes, long time coming. I haven't been on in like 3 weeks, and I missed you guys, so I'm ready for some great sports content and some great conversation. If you guys could take the chance, take the time to share, retweet, do whatever you got to do. Let everybody know and let them know to be locked into the ASAP network. It's the Sports Senseis, and we are back to give you some great topics. We're going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady. Everybody's been talking about his questionable return. It's such a toss-up right now. Nothing is official until, I believe, June 2nd when the paperwork is filed and he opts out of his last season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll also talk about Aaron Rodgers. That saga continues. He had a very awkward and weird post on Instagram, giving a lot of clout to his now ex-fiance. I know her last name is Woodley. I can't remember her. Is it like Denise
Shannon or something like that? I think it's
Dana? Yeah. The girl from what are those movies? The Maze Runner, I believe. And then she did another saga as well. Very successful woman, actress in the biz. Things didn't work out. So we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. And also, we got to dive into this NBA All-Star weekend that happened in Cleveland. I had a couple of friends for the media that was out there in Cleveland, and they had a lot of negative feedback over the whole weekend.
We got to dive into that.
The All-Star game, as well as the dunk contest or the flunk contest, what everybody wants to call it by now. And then we'll wrap things up with the LeBron conversation. If you guys have any topics that you want to throw our direction, the comment section is right there. Let us hear it. Let us know. And we're back, baby.
We are back. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so ready to dive in and to really go forth and prosper with these topics but we have something to discuss first, because Ruth the Truth, unfortunately you weren't available for our Super Bowl conversation. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl, everything that transpired, how it unfolded, just what you took from the game, what was your highlights, lowlights, however you saw it. Like, what was the Super Bowl experience like for Ruth the Truth?
So Ruth the Truth was live in New Orleans on Bourbon Street for the Super Bowl. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, New Orleans is one of my favorite cities to hang out and enjoy life at. So that's where I was for the Super Bowl, decked out in my Dallas Cowboys gear, because I was, when it's Super Bowl Sunday, you kind of just wish that you were in that bragging position. You wish that you had a leg to stand on when it comes to Super Bowl conversation. The Dallas Cowboys obviously weren't in the Super Bowl, but I still represented them live in New Orleans. So that was a lot of fun. I called the Rams winning the Super Bowl, and thank heavens, because I was doing terrible in the playoffs when it came to picking my winning teams. I think I was like 0 for 4 one of the weekends. So I called the Rams winning. It was a success. Matthew Stafford, after 13 years in the NFL, has a Super Bowl ring. Not only does he have a Super Bowl ring, but I believe he is in that Hall of Fame conversation, regardless of the comments of Richard Sherman and company. Action-packed game. Everybody knew that the protection of Joe Burrow was going to always be in question, and getting sacked 7 times, and it could have been 10. The gentleman did a great job avoiding the sack, but it was inevitable at times, and it really came back to bite them. They kind of slowed down their offensive scheme late in the fourth quarter, which kind of hurt them. We had Eric Weddle, who got hurt in a tackle to Jamar Chase. This game. So you're going to leave your heart out on the turf. And speaking of turf, the NFL needs to pay attention to what is going on with these injuries, with these knee injuries, because we are seeing them all over the place. In the start of the 2020 season, after week 1, I believe we had 7 ACL and MCL injuries to these players due to the turf. So we saw that unfortunately unfold in the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford got beat up, as well as Joe Burrow as well. His knee kind of got buckled underneath him when he was trying to avoid a sack, and the pocket kind of collapsed on him. So I hope the NFL has taken some note on some changes that I'm hoping to see on the field. But I mean, that's such a big money when it comes to having real grass compared to the turf. So I know it's all about saving the coins, but it's so hurtful when you see these great players get hurt. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. caught an amazing touchdown pass to set the tone for their offense for the Rams. And then he got hurt with 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and we didn't see him on the field for the rest of the game. And we saw the emotion of how he carried all those emotions inside on the sidelines, and it kind of erupted when the game was finally over and Aaron Donald pulled that magnificent sack on Joe Burrow to end the game on 4th and 1. You just saw the emotions completely burst out of him, and I honestly think that OBJ has turned a new leaf. He's about to have a daughter, so maybe the maturity is starting to really settle in, the unselflessness with OBJ now. So he got his ring. Now he's a free agent. So what is going to happen with OBJ with his future? Because we've seen him kind of bounce around a little bit. He went from the Giants over there to Cleveland, tried to make something happen with Baker Mayfield. That unfolded, and he forced his way out of there into a winning team that had prospects to win the Super Bowl, which is exactly what they did. So, but now it's up in the air with this knee injury that I believe it's the same knee that he injured when he was out for
in Cleveland.
A amount of time with Cleveland Browns. So that the injuries always come into question when it comes to re-signing and where they're going to end up. Who's going to take the chance on a wide receiver of his caliber getting continuously hurt as much as he has lately. So free agency is going to be, have a big attention on where these players are going to be moving. But overall, great game. The Super Bowl did not disappoint. The halftime show did not disappoint.
Amazing.
You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. I had a feeling everyone was going to come out to that song.
Oh yeah, of course. He couldn't come out to any other song. He couldn't come out to any other song in the sports arena. Like, he has to come out to that, because what athlete hasn't warmed up to that song or gotten hype off a game to that song or had that song played in the arena while they're playing? So he definitely had to do that song, and super kudos to him, just for my own personal reasons, for still kneeling. It's kind of up in the air as far as, like, some people said that he was told not to do it, and the NFL came out and released a statement and said that he wasn't told not to do it. Either way, sir, you all right with me. I appreciate that you taking that stance. But I think with Odell, because Jay and I talked about this, is that he already was saying that he would take the minimum to come back, because they do have other people to resign also, and as well ahead of him, talking about Odell. So he was already kind of in the mindset of taking less anyway. And then, with the injury, I think, he's definitely going to understand that he's not in a position to really negotiate anything, like anything higher. But I don't think that the money really matters to Odell at this point. I think he's found a home. He's found somewhere that he's comfortable. He's found an offense that he can thrive, and they predicate to what he does best. And that's what Odell needed. And that's what was missing in Cleveland. Like, Cleveland is a run first team. They're not really pass happy. The Rams are pass happy. They have Matthew Stafford, somebody who can actually make those kind of plays and make those kind of throws. And then a coach in Sean McVay, who is like, we can run the ball too, but we're gonna slug it out. We're gonna make the big plays. We're gonna do the short routes. We're gonna do the, what I'm saying, to really ingratiate that offense. So I think he's comfortable. Odell's an LA kind of dude. What I'm saying? His girl lives out in LA, and they're, like you said, they're about to have a child. So I think that definitely is going to play a major part also as well. So I think he still comes back with the rehab from the I don't know if you were able to watch the parade, but all the players want him to come back. Sean McVay wants him to come back. So I think regardless, they're gonna. I mean, and plus they have somebody to plug in until he's able to get healthy anyway. So it's not like they're really missing anything if he's not there per se. Like
Right.
it definitely helps to have Odell than not have him, but it's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, it's Odell or nothing. Like they have enough pieces to plug into that they'll still be okay.
Right, because you saw the shift of the defense when Odell went bad.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard for Cooper Kupp to not get triple teamed at times because all the pressure was alleviated after OBJ went down. So, did I really think it was going to hurt them with OBJ out? I said, you know what? He already scored a touchdown, already put up a decent amount of yards for his time play. So let's go to the motherland with Cooper Kupp, who's obviously been a huge help. And we also had Henderson make a huge difference as well. He stepped up in that wide receiver position when Odell went down too. So I feel bad for the tight end. I always butcher his last name, but the tight end that fumbled that pass coming back from the half. And he fumbled that pass for that turnover. Oh man, that was your opportunity to really
that was
really
critical.
shine, and he did the opposite. So but with the Odell conversation, wherever he ends up, he at the end of the day, wherever you get traded to is where you're wanted the most. So I know as much as he wants to end up at LA Ram, I mean, I think any team in the league would want to have him. I mean, the Buccaneers, I feel like, had an opportunity to lock down OBJ, but we kind of had all our coins on Antonio Brown, and we all saw how that unfolded. So wherever he ends up going, he's going to be wanted, and hopefully he continues with a successful offense because Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer once his career is over.
Absolutely.
And the Super Bowl ring, I feel like, just solidifies that.
So absolutely, and I think that the media needs to go on an apology tour. I haven't seen enough of it yet because Odell, they made it seem like Odell was like this washed up, just lost commodity. And that was never the case. He just needed an opportunity to be in a system and an offense where he could really thrive and he could really shine. Even like a lot of people give him flack for the New York Giants situation. I never did because I felt like you threw Odell into a mess of an organization with the Giants because let's keep it honest, their organization hasn't really been ran well in the last decade, probably since their last Super Bowl win. And then he has, you give him an Eli that's on his way out the door, opposed to like like the Super Bowl era Eli. So then you have that, like Eli's not the same quarterback. So a lot of the plays that he was making happen, he was pretty much making happen on his own because it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? And granted, there are things that he could have handled different. There are, as far as like the outbursts and things of that nature. Like I agree with that. He definitely could have tucked his emotions a lot better, but that wasn't all his fault. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but like I said, I just feel like the Super Bowl ring definitely puts him in that Hall of Fame category for me personally, because he still, even without it, he had the numbers to be at least considered. But now with the Super Bowl ring, and I really hate that we were robbed of not seeing him in that full game because I feel like had he had the opportunity to play the whole game, the Rams would have blown the Bengals out because he was he was on fire. Like he started the game like laser focused. Like the only hiccup was the drop that he got hurt, and like I mean even then like he feel like he could have. Man, I hate that for him. Like I really do, but we could talk about the Super Bowl all day. I could talk about OBJ all day. That's my guy.
I wanted to talk about the parade a little bit, and I wanted to get your take on the whole Matthew Stafford and the camera girl that fell off a 6-foot stage, ended up fracturing her spine, breaking 2 of her cameras. The Matthew Stafford that we know is a very generous and kind and thoughtful person, and what we saw after the Don Julio bottle was the complete opposite. As he decided to turn around and kind of mouth, "Oh my gosh," and just avoid what he just witnessed. Is this a bad look for Matthew, or do you take this into any type of consideration when questioning his personality? I guess you could say.
No, because what exactly was he supposed to do? Like, because let's keep it honest. Like, he was already drunk at that point. So let's say per se, that happens and he goes down there and he injures himself too. Then what? Then we're like, well, why did he
tries to reach down to grab her
and then he falls exactly. So then it would go from, why did he try to help her? Why did he call somebody else? Like, he doesn't care about the team and he risked. Listen, there was nothing Matthew Stafford could have done in that situation, honestly. Like, yeah. Let's like I said, let's keep it like that's a very high up, but like he's not. I mean, I can understand why people were like, he could at least, checked on her to make sure she was okay, which I think initially like they did like pay her hospital expenses and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So like that's the most he could have really done. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he had his wife there, so she was probably a little less drunk than he was. So that's why he probably turned to her and was like, hey, like, check that out, because I can't. Like, like I'm not able to do that. But I don't look at Matthew.
I can't help her.
Yeah, like I can't. What do you? Like I'm not a medical professor. Like, what do you want me to do? So I don't blame Matthew Stafford for the way that he reacted. I don't think that doesn't make me look at him any different or like question his quote unquote personality, because it's like a lot of us would have done the same thing. Like we all would have been. There's a good portion of us that did exactly that. Like especially if we've been drinking, like. Oh my God! Somebody help her! Like I can't, but somebody please, like
somebody call an adult. Somebody call an adult.
No, seriously, because I mean, like I said, what was he supposed to do? Jump down there and be Superman? Like, nah, man, he's still he's human like the rest of us. So nah, I didn't take it any kind of way. But how about you? What do you think?
When I initially saw it, I was just kind of like, damn, that doesn't look good on you, Matthew. But who am I to judge? I'm sure with the help of Don Julio, I've done some questionable things that people would be like, damn. So, yeah, I think we've all been there. It was unfortunate that it was caught on camera and publicized the way that it was. And I know that I believe her name was Kelly Smiley, like retweeted the video that Adam Schefter had posted on Twitter of the situation. And she's like, yeah, that's me. I'm awaiting on my MRI to see the results on my spine, and I have 2 broken cameras. But then there was a lot of backlash about her personality and her stance on the whole, her whole liberal stance. I don't know. It just got a lot deeper than it needed to be. But I mean, her medical bills were covered and her cameras were replaced. So thank you for the Staffords for at least trying to make the situation better instead of making it worse or trying to make excuses for Stafford's actions. So we move on. It is what it is. It happened. Hopefully she's okay. She's on the road to recovery and her cameras are replaced, and that's it. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I shout out to Matthew Stafford, because he gained so much of my respect during that parade, because listen, I would have been just as slaughtered as he was. Like he was faded. Like he was having a great time, and I'm not mad. Like that was awesome for me. Like I like to see players in that not necessarily drunk, but just to see them kind of like let their hair down a little bit and not be as like, so macho and so serious and so politically correct. Like he was fully ingrained into what was going on. So I thought that was dope. But like I said, we can talk about the Super Bowl all day, but I want to keep it NFL and talk about some other stuff. Thomas Brady, the GOAT, TB12, all of those things. So we all know that he released a statement a little bit before the Super Bowl, announcing his retirement. Now, the news is that there's a possibility that TB12 could come back, like that he could, be either on the Bucs or go somewhere else. There's been rumors that he's trying to go home to the 49ers because that's his, hometown team. So what do we think about the possibility of Tom Brady coming back? Like, is it going to happen? And if it happens, where do we see him at? How does it fare? Like, is he still going to be playing at elite level like he played last year? Like, what's going on with Mr. Thomas Brady?
So I think that's one of the biggest aspects or the biggest arguments for this conversation is Tom Brady going to retire after having an MVP caliber season that he has? I mean, obviously the guy still got it, and it was unfortunate that the wide receiver core kind of depleted towards the end of the season, where he didn't really have the main weapons that he used to be successful in their Super Bowl victory last season. So I think that right now he's planting a lot of seeds of speculation about the back and forth of whether he's going to retire, where it's official, whether he's going to go to the 49ers. But he purchased the mansion in Miami, and I'm not saying that I think he's going to go play for the Dolphins, but I think that's more kind of on the lines of, I'm putting up the cleats for good, guys. You guys have 22 years of my life. It's time for me to be a full-time dad and be in the car. the car lines and be super involved in his kids, at their activities at school. I think Giselle is ready to just hand him the apron and the vacuum and be like, "Hey, it's your turn, buddy. Like, I'm about to go out and do some wild stuff and go win some Super Bowls while you stay at home and hold it down." So, do I want Tom Brady to retire? Absolutely not. I mean, just the thought of it is kind of makes me cringe a little bit, because as long as I can remember of watching the NFL, Tom Brady has been slinging the pigskin. So it's very disheartening to see him leave. Here in Tampa, everybody looks at him as a god. I mean, he brought us another Super Bowl win in his first season here. Shout out to Jason Light for keeping the 22 starters to return the next season and try to go again for another Super Bowl run. But it's sad to say. I think it's over for Tom Brady. But I mean, he admitted it in a podcast that he was on earlier this week, saying, "Never say never. I'm staying in football shape. My TB12 diet is still implemented on my day to day, and who knows? You don't got to get ready if you stay ready." So I think we're gonna have a lot of back and forth with the media. I think obviously, not wanting to be asked a trillion times in the offseason on whether or not he's going to retire or not maybe was kind of the fuel of his post on Instagram about him retiring. But do I really think Brady's just going to retire from an Instagram post? Like, I don't know, guys. Like, yeah, social media is taking it serious, but we're talking about a 22-year career, 10 Super Bowl appearances, and 7 championships rings. I think it's going to be I think we're going to see like a whole movie. Like, I mean, at least when Julius Edelman retired from the New England Patriots this season, he had a nice little setup on the field where he had a suit on and he got to address all the people that he wanted to address. And mind you, let's talk about Tom Brady not even thanking the New England Patriots and his retirement.
Or Bill Belichick,
maybe the pettiness, or I don't know if you call it petty or him just kind of dropping some knowledge on us that the New England Patriots and Brady that relationship is severed, and it's severed for good. Because you spend 20 years with a franchise and then you don't even mention them in your retirement. So I don't know, a lot of speculation. There's a lot of cheese laid out by the GOAT himself, and all these little mice in the media are biting at it, trying to figure out what's going on. But we're not going to officially know what's happening until June 2nd, or I believe that's the date. So we'll know officially. But as of right now, he's saying he's retiring, but then he's also going back on it, saying never say never. So I don't know, Brady, you're playing mind games with us, and it's working.
Yeah, no, seriously, and I think a part of him enjoys that speculation as much as he tries to say like he's not into like all the attention. Like, come on, man, like you like
you want the attention.
You want it, and that's fine. Like you are the GOAT. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest of all time, and no matter who you ask, like, you can say whatever you want to say about Tom Brady, but the numbers and the career speak for itself. Like, he's definitely
but
in the consideration for the greatest of all time, for sure.
Right, but when you bring up going to the 49ers, I don't know. Him going to another team to finish out his I mean, obviously it's going to depend on a lot on what the Buccaneers accomplish in the offseason with these 25 free agents that they got to sign and figure out what the roster is going to look like next season. And I don't know. There was also speculation out there that he kind of felt forced to make the announcement because of maybe some tension that was, coming from his relationship with Bruce Arians. There's been a lot of speculation on how that coaching staff and Bruce Arians towards the end wasn't really on the same page. There was a story that I heard that Bruce Arians came into the meeting room right before the Rams game when Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady had spent some time going over a game plan for the next game, and he comes in and just completely erases everything that they had, and they're like, trash that, we're not using any of that. So who knows if that's true? The media has a way of twisting stories, so we never really know what happened. But I do know that Bruce Arians was definitely starting to lose his cool a little bit, and I don't know if it was the Achilles injury that was bothering him. I know that he was on some type of pain medication, which kind of changes somebody's personality just slightly. It can make people a little bit more grumpy, a little more groggy than usual. I mean, we saw him smack a buck like on the sideline, just completely like whop him like he's a 5-year-old. So who really knows what's going on behind the scenes? And I know obviously the Antonio Brown travesty didn't help for anybody. I think that was one of the detrimental things that happened in that locker room towards the end of the season. That's not the time that we needed it. So do I believe Brady's coming back? Honestly, no. I don't think he would. I mean, why? Like, why would he?
Yeah. For what?
There's nothing for him to prove. How many more records do you need to break? Is he just going to continue breaking his own records? Like, I don't know. But then he might be like me, where it's kind of like when you see yourself not being replaced, but somebody stepping into your position, and kind of you get territorial, and you're like, whoa, whoa,
yeah.
Slow it down now. This is my yard. This is where I play. So, who knows? Brady, the Buccaneers are always going to welcome you back with open arms. But we will not find out officially if Brady's hanging them up until June this year. So let's see.
For sure, yeah. I'm definitely interested to see what he decides to do. I think Tom Brady's kind of just in this weird space of like just being a rock in a hard place where like he wants to retire, obviously for family reasons, like you said, with the kids and even his wife. Like she's kind of at the point where like, all right, like you said, like what else do you have to prove? Like you've broken every record, you've done everything that you could possibly do as a football player. Like I need help raising these kids. Like I don't want to be the sole responsible person. Like you need to.
It's like I got bake sales every week. I can't do this anymore.
Exactly. Like we went half on these kids. Like it ain't just me. So. But I don't know, man. I think that's just really hard, being that he's Tom Brady and just the level that he's consistently played at for so long, and being like that competitive. Like I don't know how you shut that off just automatically and then just be done. Like that has to be something that wrecks his brain like every day. It's like I'm not getting up.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for a lot of NFL players. Like that whole transition from being a full-time athlete to then like waking up and having nothing to do. Like it's just it's a heavy transition that we haven't seen. We've seen a lot of success with these NFL players and what they do afterwards and how they use their platforms, but I could see Brady maybe taking a turn into some type of ownership, maybe in the NFL or maybe a different league. Who knows? I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes, I believe, buy like 50% of the Kansas City Royals. So he might go into that, or maybe he wants to be a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator in the league, or come on over to media and be a part of the broadcast booth.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
I think Brady would be fantastic on the big screen. And everybody thinks that Tony Romo is amazing. I believe so as well. He's amazing. He's amazing at the mediating and everything on television. But I think Brady would just take the cake on that because 22 years of experience. You've seen it all. You've seen all these defensives. You've officially played against all these teams in the NFL. So who knows what Brady's going to end up doing. I do know this. He's going to be able to do whatever the heck his whatever his mind, whatever his soul carries him to do. He's going to be able to accomplish great things moving forward. But it is going to be weird going into next season. And if he decides to officially retire, him not strapping up, it's going to be weird, and I'm kind of scared for the Buccaneers to see what is for their future without Tom Brady. There was a lot of Saints hate coming from New Orleans saying like, "Oh, well, you guys are nothing now. Like Brady's gone, so you guys are screwed. It's back to the bottom of the barrel for you guys. It's back to no playoff appearance for you guys." So, are we going to get Kyle Trask, who we put a second-round pick on? Or are we going to try to test free agency to see who's out there? There's been talks of Matt Ryan being on the move from Atlanta. Like maybe that's the formula. Like you just find a veteran quarterback that has the experience and plug him into an offense and a defense that can hold their own. And maybe you could just win a Super Bowl. So, the Rams follow the same exact formula, basically, where they put everything on the line. They gave away first draft picks. They gave away 2 first-round draft picks and 1 in the third, as well as Jared Goff. And they put that in a pretty little package and sent it to Detroit, and they got a Super Bowl win out of it. So I think a lot of these GMs and these coaches are all like, okay, so if we have a decent defense, if we have a good receiving core, if we have a decent tight end, let's just find our quarterback that's going to take us over the hump. I mean, they did it well. I mean, 2 back-to-back seasons of the team actually hosting the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. Like that's insane to me. Is this a trend that we're gonna start seeing now? Because if I'm not mistaken, the next Super Bowl I think is in New Orleans. So the Saints got to pick up their game because it's a trend. Yeah. You don't want to break the cycle.
I'm telling you, like, it's been like I don't know, that whole dynamic is crazy. That, like you said, the home team has played in the Super Bowl and won it. Like that is, but I definitely think that is
But I was at the first. I will say that. I mean, yes, the Rams did it, another historic thing. But I was at the first. The Bucs did it first, and yes, the Raymond James Stadium is not as beautiful and exciting as the SoFi Stadium. But I mean, the Bucs were the first. The first.
Yes.
So everybody, don't forget that the first.
They absolutely were. So that's definitely. Oh, Tony said the next Super Bowl is actually in Arizona.
In Arizona, okay, cool.
Yes, so, yes. Yeah. So it'll be in Arizona. So, all right. We have one more NFL topic that I wanted to discuss really quick here. Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers posted this cryptic message on Instagram. This long message. He was thanking people, from the ex-fiance to teammates that he's played with, coaching staff, et cetera, et cetera. So does this spell for retirement for Aaron Rodgers, or does this mean that, he's ready to move on from Green Bay? Like, it's how the whole saying goes, like, read between the lines, but like, you can't really read between those lines. Like, there's so many different perceptions that you could take from that Instagram post. So when you saw what he wrote, what did you think? Like, what is your mind frame of, like, do you think he's moving on to another team? Is he retiring? Like, what is going on with Aaron Rodgers?
Man, that is a great question, Sensei, and it's definitely a head scratcher to kind of understand where Aaron Rodgers where he sits at this point, because I mean there was a lot of speculation last season of him being on the move from Green Bay, and then he decides to give it another shot, and then they get boosted out in the very first round against San Francisco. So I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely maybe going through like some type of midlife crisis. I mean, yes, he's not at 50 years old, but playing football definitely takes some years off you. So maybe he's just, and it's a big transition going through a breakup as well. And then you're obviously not happy with the front office and your organization. So you may be on the move. So I think right now he's just going through a lot. I think we all should pray for Aaron Rodgers and his sanity, because he has a lot of big decisions to make. Well, how he wants to end off his career. I mean, the love that Tom Brady, it was just completely overflown all over the media, all over Sports Center, all over ESPN, all over FS1. Nobody could stop talking about Tom Brady. You're really trying to follow that act with retiring on the same season? Like, come on, Aaron. Don't do that. Don't try to compete with the GOAT. You've always been here. Brady's always been here. So do I think he's going to retire? No. I think he still has a lot of great football to play. I believe he's only 36 years old. So he's, a lot younger than what Tom Brady was at 44, deciding to retire. So I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play more football, but is it going to be in Green Bay? I don't know. There's been so much speculation within the years of is he going to be on the move? He's unhappy with his offensive scheme, but then the Packers went and hired a quarterback coach that he is very familiar with and somebody that he wanted to be a part of their coaching staff. So maybe that is something that Green Bay is trying to lower him back in, like, hey, we know you're mad, we know you're hungry, but here's some food. So I think would the Packers be? I think the Packers would be foolish, absolutely foolish, to let Aaron Rodgers go. I mean, the quarterback position is the most pristine position in the NFL, and something you got to lock in a good quarterback if you have any way of being in Super Bowl conversation. And the Green Bay Packers have already been there once with him, with one Super Bowl championship, and they could possibly do it again. So I think the Packers are really, really trying to do anything they possibly can to make Aaron happy. And no, I think he's still got more football in him. I don't think he's ready to retire. I think the Instagram post is just a little bit of a cry for help. And I hope his friends and family are flooding him with the love and care that he needs going through these times. And who knows where he's going to end up next season. But I will say this, Colin Hurd from the Herd show that's on FS1 posted a photo of Aaron Rodgers in a Denver Broncos uniform. That ain't it. I don't see it. I don't like it. It wasn't a good look. I think the Titans look a lot better. I think Tennessee would be a great city, a great team for him to play for. I mean, I know New Orleans is not really locked in on Jameis Winston, on what's going on with him over there in the NFC South. So who knows if he goes to New Orleans? I don't know. I think it's a huge question mark with Aaron Rodgers, but I still think he has time. I think he has a lot of football to play. But is it going to be with the Packers this season? Probably not. I could see Aaron actually making his moves. I don't think the Packers. I think the Packers are going to do whatever they can to try to convince him to stay. But Aaron is his own man, and I think he might end up making his way to a team that's ready to win now, because the Green Bay Packers have been a big flop in the past couple seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Aaron Rodgers, he's kind of in that space of kind of like Tom Brady, like where they pretend they don't like the attention and like the allure and people kind of like falling at their feet and like, you know, having that willing that power. And I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely kind of on a power trip a little bit, especially like with the Packers, just because he hasn't been happy with that coaching staff or the organization from up top for some years now. Like every year, it seems like we hear speculation coming out of Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers not being happy, and is he possibly going to leave, and who's going to be the next coach, and they need this and they need that. So it's just like it's an everlasting drama as far as him. Like the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers are like that relationship where you just like just end it already. Like you're not happy. Like
everybody knows their drama. Everybody knows what's going on, and they're just like,
yeah. And it's just like why do we have to hear about this every single it's like, you know, that friend like that always like is in a relationship and they call you all the time to like complain about their significant other, and it's like, like, are you gonna leave them or are you gonna stay? Like, what's going on? Like, because at this point, like you keep calling me with the same problem. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore. So it's like that's kind of where we're at with, at least I feel like, with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It's like it's just never ending. So I think he wants to continue playing. I don't think that he's in the space that he wants to retire, because like you said, he is only 36 years old. Like, he's not as old as Tom Brady. He still is, you know, playing at an elite level. So he definitely still has room to, you know, still be great. Like, he hasn't really had a drop off or anything like that. But I do think that it's time for, if he doesn't retire, it's time for the Green Bay situation to just end. Like, they need to just go ahead and part ways now. I saw the Photoshop of that Colin Howard posted of him being in a Denver Broncos uniform. I was kind of with you with that. Like, I wasn't really like, it didn't look right. Like, it wasn't like right. I wasn't really sold on that. Now I did see a photo on, I believe it was Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, of him in a Titans uniform. And I was like, that could be interesting. Like, Aaron Rodgers as the Titans quarterback could be interesting, because I feel like they are one piece away from being like a Super Bowl contending team, which is, I mean, it's quite the piece that they need, which is a quarterback. But they're literally right there. They have the running back, they have the receivers, they have the defense, they have the coaching staff, they have the personnel. Like, they have every single thing. The one thing that's been holding them back is the quarterback position. Like,
is Ryan Tannehill. I mean, throwing 3 interceptions in a playoff, you're not going to win a game.
Yeah, Tannehill and he's not the guy. He's not the answer, you know, for them to ultimately reach the position that they want to reach, which is, like I said, is having the opportunity to play in a Super Bowl. As if Aaron Rodgers goes there, I definitely think that shoots them over the top. Like, seeing him in the Titans uniform made a lot more sense, at least to me, than seeing him in the Denver Broncos uniform, because, like I said, they're literally knocking on the door, and it's just like they just need that one, like I said, major piece.
But does Aaron Rodgers want the noise of the AFC? I mean, we have such young talent over here in the AFC with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Joe Burrow. Who would have thought the Cincinnati Bengals made it to a Super Bowl? So they're obviously a legitimate threat with years to come, because Joe Burrow's 22 years old. I mean, let me tell you, those videos that they posted, and they were like replaying them over and over on ESPN about how Joe Burrow was going up to Eric Weddle and shaking his hand and being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
like, hi,
Yeah.
I'm Joe." Like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm Joe." Like, they don't know who you are. Like, it was just so. It was. It made me laugh because I wasn't sure if he was trying to be like, because he was telling these players like, "Hey, I used to watch you as a kid, and it's amazing to be by your side right now." And I wasn't sure if that was like a way of trying to like get under their skin. Like, "Hey, I'm 25 years older than you. I used to watch you when I was in grade school, and now I'm over here competing against you in the Super Bowl. Like, what's up?" You know? So I think Joe Burrow has a way of trying to be. He has a big intimidation factor, and I think him introducing himself like, "Hi, I'm Joe," like everybody knows who you are, Mr. Thorough. So yeah, definitely hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers wants that noise in the AFC. Like it is competitive, and now that he has Tom Brady retiring in the NFC, like who is really gonna compete for that conference? I mean, I would love to say my Dallas Cowboys, but I don't have. I got to see how this draft goes. I got to see how the free agency hits for the Dallas Cowboys, and then we'll have that discussion in early season when training camp starts. But I think that Aaron Rodgers would be smart to stay in the NFC. As much as it looks great to go on to Tennessee with, I mean, having such a great running back core and Deontay Foreman as well as Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the game. I mean, it would definitely make your job a lot easier for you, Aaron. So, I think the AFC is a really tough cookie to crumble, and I think it would be very daring for Aaron Rodgers to try to tiptoe over here to the AFC.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think that's excuse me, sorry. I definitely think that that's a factor that you have to definitely consider, is because like you said, the AFC is tough. Like that's the toughest conference right now to me.
Yeah, the AFC got Tom Brady to commit to the Bucks. Like, hello. Like he was like, "I don't want to be dealing with Patrick Mahomes. No thanks."
Literally, and like the NFC used to be the tougher conference, but it's definitely the momentum has definitely shifted to the AFC just from all the things that you said. Like the AFC has all the young guns, like, and they're all at each other's throats. Like everybody's like on the even playing field, and they're trying to in that position of trying to separate themselves. So I don't know if Aaron wants to throw himself into that, because then it's like, if he goes to the Titans and they don't win or they're not successful, then it's like another Aaron Rodgers blunder yet again, and it's another blow to the legacy, the quote unquote legacy. So it's like I don't know. Like there's just a lot that I feel like that he has to consider for sure. But so we'll wrap up the NFL topics there. NFL season is over with, so now the shift of focus is to basketball, to the NBA, because that is now the league that they're looking forward to. We got playoffs getting ready to come around the corner. So much drama, so many storylines, etc., etc. So I want to start with, because we haven't had an opportunity to cover it yet. So I want to start with the James Harden trade to Philadelphia first. There's so many things to unpack there, right? So I want to start with this. Like, how do you think about his tenure in Brooklyn? And then what do you think that translate into as he's now a Philadelphia 76er?
James Harden already went to the press saying that his first, when he forced his way out of Houston, he wanted to end up playing for the 76ers. That was the team that he initially said that he wanted to continue his career, but he ended up with Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which you're not in bad shape. I mean, you get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals when Kyrie wasn't even available towards the end of that stretch. So was I surprised that James Harden said the 76ers? No, I think the Kyrie saga and the whole vaccination and him not being available for home games, I think that really kind of disrupted the locker room and what they had going on. And he kind of admitted that Kyrie Irving was, not having I guess a positive impact on the team with all that was going on with his vaccination. So I think that was I know that he said that wasn't the reason that he left, but I think that was kind of more of a final straw type of moment. And just, I don't know. It started definitely to seem towards the end that he did not even want to be in a Nets uniform. I don't know if it has to do with Steve Nash and his ways of coaching, or how that how that transpired, but now he's with the 76ers. Now he's with a Joel Embiid that is the big man that is dominating the league right now and is in a conversation for MVP. But I honestly think that Brooklyn kind of won that trade. I mean, not only did they get Ben Simmons, who knows? I mean, who knows? Maybe he was working on that offseason shot that we haven't seen yet because he did that in the playoffs last season. But I mean, when you recognize and you go over film and you see what you need to work on, I mean, do what you got to do, bud. I mean, he was saying that he was in he wasn't playing for the 76ers, but he was staying in basketball shape. So I'm very interested to see how that plays out now that he's in Brooklyn. But I mean, you get Seth Curry, you get Andre Drummond, who's going to be coming off the bench as another big man for the Brooklyn Nets. I believe they get a first round draft pick as well, or was it the second or third? They get a pretty good draft position as well. And guess what? The Nets also just signed Goran Dragic from Miami Heat, which is, I think, a sneaky good pick for the coming from Miami. So the Brooklyn Nets are in good shape. The future for them looks good with these draft positions that they have now. And with the depth that they put on their bench, I think is going to help them in these long playoff stretches when Kyrie Irving isn't available. I mean, which is, I think, is going to be detrimental in the playoffs to not have him available for these 7-game series. You need all your players. I mean, that's why they didn't go all the way last season. So at the end of it, I think both teams ended happy. Del Murray is now reunited with James Harden, who they affiliated themselves when they were in Houston, and now they're reunited with the 76ers. So I don't know. Everybody kind of seems happy. Joel is done trolling Ben Simmons. I mean, that situation.
I don't know if he's done. I don't know if he's done yet.
Who knows? What does he calling himself now? Troll Embiid instead of Joel?
Troll it. Yes, Troll Embiid. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done. Yeah. I don't think he's done trolling because I think he's one of those really petty individuals. So I think he's gonna hold that Ben Simmons grudge for a little while there.
But you know what? Now Simmons isn't expected to to average 25 points a game. Now all we need them to do, since we have we have a plethora of shooters around him, we just need you to play great defense. We need you to help orchestrate where the ball's going, and we need you to get rebounds. And when you're available for a layup and you're right underneath the net, you better put the ball on the goal because we're not playing games. No more passing up the ball when you're underneath the net. None of that. That's not going to be a good formula for Brooklyn to have success. Ben Simmons just needs to go back to his game. Hopefully he improve that jump shot, and we shall see how that unfolds for the Nets.
Absolutely. So I think there's a lot to unpack with this whole Brooklyn and James Harden situation and the Philadelphia 76ers and just everything. So I'll start with the Brooklyn situation first. I don't think I believe him when he says that initially his first choice was in Brooklyn, because I don't think that's where he wanted to go. I think that was just an easy fix because it's like, okay, you go to Brooklyn, you hook up with KD, you hook up with Kyrie, like your opportunity to get a championship is it's high. But you know what I'm saying? If everything goes the way that it's supposed to go, like you're either right there or like it's solidified. I think also that here's another reason why I believe that he wanted to go to the Sixers. It's because of Daryl Morey. Because Daryl Morey allows James Harden to be James Harden. And what I mean by that is not even just in the basketball sense. I mean personality-wise. I mean as far as off-the-court activities. I mean as far as like just pretty much letting him do what he wants to do. If James Harden goes anywhere else that doesn't have Daryl Morey attached to it, then he's required to do things that he may or may not be comfortable with. He has more responsibility. There's more expectation. He doesn't get to just go to the strip club or be with rappers how he wants to be. Like he has to be a professional basketball player the way that that team expects him to be. And with Daryl Morey is kind of like, all right, like do what you do. Just show up and make sure that you're ready to play and that you're in shape and that you be the James Harden that we know, the MVP caliber James Harden that we know you can be. So I think I definitely believe that he wanted to go to the Sixers over the Brooklyn Nets. It's just that the Sixers unfortunately weren't able to pull the trigger and offer what Houston was looking for at that time to make that situation happen. Now, as far as him in Brooklyn, Kyrie ain't easy to play with, man. And I mean, and we've seen this from when Kyrie was in Cleveland to when Kyrie was in Boston to even right now with Kyrie in being a Brooklyn Net. Like he's just not an easy person to play with because you just don't know which Kyrie you're gonna get. Like if you can get the Kyrie that is otherworldly and it has a talent, one of the most talented players in the NBA, and who's focused, who's his mind frame is everything is aligned, then perfect. But there's always that what if. There's always that but. Like it's never a sure shot. It's not a guarantee. Like with KD, you know what you're getting out of KD. You're gonna get 27 to 28, or just if he wants to go off that night, he's gonna go off that. Like you're gonna get that. He's gonna work hard on the defensive end. He's not really much of a vocal leader, but he's a follow my lead. I go with me. I got us kind of guy. But you're gonna get that every single night, barring injury. You're gonna get that every single night. The expectation with Kyrie now. You just, like I said, you just don't know what you're gonna get. Like you don't know if you're gonna get the Kyrie that wants to play and is engaged. You don't know if you're gonna get the Kyrie that's there, but he's distant. You don't know if you're gonna get the Kyrie that he just wakes up one day and say, "Hey, I need 10 days off. I'll see y'all when I see y'all." Like you just don't know. So it's like the uncertainty, I think, definitely played a factor in him wanting to leave, and just the kind of offense that the Nets want to run is not conducive to what James Harden is accustomed to. And what he wants to do. Like James Harden doesn't want to do a free flowing offense, kind of like the Warriors had, where everybody touches the ball and there's a bunch of ball screens, and he don't want to do that. Like James Harden wants to dribble 12 times, make his move, dish it off if that's what's available, or get his money. So it's like that situation at some point was going to rear its head. Like it was never going to be something that it was just going to be smooth sailing. Like I always saw it imploding. I didn't see it imploding as fast as it did, but I definitely saw that situation imploding. Now going forward, as far as Ben Simmons and Troll Embiid, I think that Brooklyn is a great situation for Ben Simmons because, like you said, he's not required to be a 25-point scorer. They don't need him to be this super strong offensive presence. They just need, pretty much, he's a pure point guard at this point. Like he can just run the point and be an anchor on the defensive end because the Nets defense is atrocious.
Yes.
So they definitely need somebody to help on that side of the ball. And Ben Simmons is a guy that is in the top 5 defenders in the NBA every single year, like again, barring injury. So that definitely helps them on that side of the ball. Like I said, and it helps him as well because he's not required to do what they needed him to do in Philly. Now, here is the flip side of that. Like you said, if you're under the basket and you are wide open, or you got a Trae Young on you, you better put it in the basket because you're not in Philly. If you think Philly is bad, wait till you hear New York. Like New York's no better as far as their criticism and the media and you think that's bad in Philly. Do that in New York and see how they're gonna react, especially
and Ben Simmons trying to play it off like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with the fans. I love the Philly fans and blah blah blah.
Come on, man.
Getting booed in playoff games is embarrassing. You got to know that's like he talked about his mental state not being in a good place. Well, hearing boos from your hometown court, it's not what you want to hear. That would do damage for anybody. So to say that the criticism for the fans didn't have any effect, I think is a bunch of BS. I think BS as in Ben Simmons. I think he was dealing with a lot of troubles because of that fan base. But like as you alluded to, Brooklyn is no better, so you better step up your game.
Yeah, like seriously. And then for him to say that, it's like, come on, man. Like you did not. It's not even that you didn't play this half of the season like in Philly. You didn't even. You came to practice with a cell phone in your pocket. Like when you were at practice, like you had a cell phone in your pocket. Like you were so like the videos that we saw, like you were so disengaged. Like you didn't want to be. Come on, man. Like you can be honest. It's okay. You were over Philly. You were done. Like you because you know those fans are rough riders, man. So it's like it's like just be honest, be real. Like that definitely had an effect. Like you didn't even want to be seen in Philly. Like
Yeah.
that's how like it's not even like I said, we didn't see him play. Like we didn't see him practice. He wasn't
I
out and
mean,
about. He
after
wasn't like
that
on
performance,
Instagram. Nothing. He was
yeah.
nowhere to be found. We didn't see him again until he arrived in Brooklyn.
Mm.
Like
Basically. Yeah, basically. I mean, there was a couple times where he showed up to the practice facility for the 76ers and then got into, got kicked out of practice a couple
yeah,
times and then
yeah.
stopped showing up and then started getting fined and then I don't know. It was a huge mess in Philly. Morey had to pull the trigger on getting rid of Ben Simmons because it was clear as day that he was not going to play in a 76ers uniform. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad that they got the package that they wanted. They orchestrated the way that they did. Both teams seem to be happy with the decisions, with the players that they have now. So let's see how it plays out in the playoffs. I would love to see Brooklyn and 76ers match up eventually sometime in the playoffs to see who really won the trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally in agreement with you there. So moving on from that, let's talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend that was just this weekend in Cleveland, the home of the GOAT. But we'll get to him in a second. First of all, I don't listen. Let's just start with the atrocity that was the dunk contest.
The
Listen,
atrocity.
let me just let me just say this, okay? I am a super NBA fan. I love the NBA. I love basketball. I played basketball. I the passion I have for basketball.
What position you play,
It's
Sensei?
I was a shooting guard. I was a
Me
shooting guard.
too.
So okay. See, this is why we work together so well.
Right.
So, um, like I said, the love that I have for basketball is pretty second to none. Like if it's one thing that I'm passionate about, it's that.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, when it comes to the NBA, I live for All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is always my favorite, like one of my favorite parts of the season for a few reasons. Because it's you get to see the best players, like kind of be that not as serious, like they let a load off, but it's still highly entertaining. You get to see the greats interact with each other. I mean, growing up, that was just like something that I look forward to.
Yeah.
As saying all that to say this, the dunk contest has always been my favorite event, like even more so than the actual game itself, because the game itself, we all know how that's going to go. It's going to be a lot of high flying plays. It's going to be a lot of offense, not really too much defense. And it's just like who can score the most. Like we all know what the formula for the All-Star game is going to be. So that's why I look forward to the dunk contest, is because it's like it's competitive. You get to see athletes just be otherworldly athletic, and you get to see why they're in the NBA opposed to other people. And just the creativity, just like there's just so many things that make that have made the dunk contest great.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's weird because the dunk contest always has like an off year where it's not as good as like when you stack it up against other previous dunk contests that were like great. Like there's always like that year or two in the middle somewhere in there where it's just not as good. This was probably the worst dunk contest I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of dunk contests. This was
Yes.
probably I was like, I had to work that night. So I was really irritated because I was like, I got up from my sleep to watch this. I interrupt. I could have stayed asleep. Like I interrupted my sleep to watch this. Like
I could have just caught the highlights on YouTube. Like,
I could have
shoot.
just caught the highlights on YouTube, and I was like, this is insane. Like, first of all, it it takes way too long for them to complete dunks. Like,
Yeah.
I hate that. Like I feel like at a certain attempt, you shouldn't be like. I don't think it should. I forgot. I think they have a number for like how many times you can attempt, and I think it's too
Yeah, I
high.
think
Like
they get 3 attempts, if I'm not mistaken. And a
I
lot of
think.
these players were disqualifying themselves because they couldn't even get a dunk in after 3 attempts. I mean, we saw
Listen,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar get up
walk
from the
out. He just
stand
left.
and
He
just
just
leave
left.
when Jalen Green couldn't complete his dunks. He was just like, man, I gotta go hit the bar. I gotta go get some snacks. This is not. I gotta go entertain myself somehow because this just ain't it.
The commentators were talking about it during the actual contest itself. Like it got to a point where it was just a roasting conversation at that point because nobody cared. I mean, you could see it on Shaq's face because Shaq is one of the guys. Like he gets up for the dunk contest. Like I feel like he feels how I feel. So like you can see it in his face. Like what in the world is this? Like this is terrible. Like
yeah.
I just I think
I think the NBA needs to do a better job at maybe making the dunk contest a little more enticing for these players to actually take it serious. And I think the lacklusterness is coming from the years previously where they felt like the wrong person won the dunk contest. I mean, nobody wanted Aaron Gordon to lose the last dunk contest where he was like, he did an amazing, phenomenal, athletic, aerobic kind of dunk and ended up getting like way low numbers and there was a lot of criticism with Dwayne Wade having favoritism for Derek because he played for the Miami Heat. So I don't know. I think throughout the years it kind of has died down. The hype has died down a little bit. I mean, afterwards they asked John Morant like, "Hey, we've seen you do some incredible dunks this season in gameplay." And, you know, you get above the rim, your head gets above the rim. Like, we obviously know that you have the talent. Have you ever considered being part of a dunk contest? And he's like, no way, Jose. It's like, it's not worth it for me. I mean, I know these players put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And when I say blood, I mean blood, like real blood. Like they get their hands messed up from getting up there on the rim. So I think the NFL or the NBA needs to do a little bit better making the dunk contest like put a little more hype around it. I don't know, like put some type of reward for somebody who, you know, gets to a certain amount of points or something. But Stephen A. Smith today had a great point on First Take where he spoke about maybe opening up the dunk contest to any individual. Yeah, like any individual. You could probably find anybody on the streets on some regular court that just likes to play 4-on-4, you know, on a daily basis that will have more entertainment than what we saw. But congratulations to Obi Toppin, nonetheless, for winning the dunk contest. It was hands down his contest from the jump, no pun intended. The Knicks got to actually win something. So congratulations. That's some type of recognition, but the dunk contest wasn't it for me. I enjoyed watching the 3-point contest a little bit more.
That was fun.
Towns for being a big man, winning the competition for the 3 points. I thought that was a lot more entertaining. But I really don't think Cole Anthony from the Orlando Magic had any business participating in the dunk contest. If you ask me,
why? Okay, so
yeah, listen, like Cole, what are you doing? Like,
listen. Woo! Listen. I want to make this crystal clear when I say this. I don't want to ever see anybody dunk in Timbs ever again. Ever. There's no point. There's a reason why they're boots. There's a reason why they're not an athletic shoe. There's a reason why you don't see that more often because that is an accident waiting to happen. Because if you land wrong in some Timbs, it's over with. Like
Lord help you.
Ankle's done. Like you can cancel it because I wear Timberlands. I like Timberlands. I like the look. All that. I would never even blink or think twice to even shoot around in Timberlands. Like I would never even risk that because
they're so heavy. They keep you anchored to the ground, and this is a dunk contest. I mean, unless Timberland was paying you 100 G's to represent their brand, I mean, that had to be some type of brand advertising because, like, who in their right mind would think that that's a good idea?
There's not enough money in the world anybody could pay me to dunk in some Timberlands. Like, No way. Like you said,
You
they're
know
so
what? The
heavy.
Orlando Magic are like 13-47 this season. They have the worst record in the NBA right now. He's like, whatever. What do I have to lose? Like
a lot, sir, a lot. And then the dance, like it was. Listen, I don't ever want to see a dunk like just like that ever again. Like, listen, if that's what it's gonna be, just scrap the whole event. Period. Like, just be done with it. If that's what it's gonna turn into, like, just don't. But I like Stephen A's idea. I think that's a really good idea because the dunks that I see on YouTube from just amateurs off the street way more impressive than what I saw on Saturday night.
yeah, and shout
Way
out
more
to Isaiah Rivera, who I follow on Instagram. He's from the Poinciana area in Florida, where I am from. And he has like over 250,000 followers on Instagram because he just started recording all of his dunks. And now he actually has like a professional program for people to improve their hops and how to learn how to dunk and all that. So shout out to him. I think that he would make a very, very strong run for a dunk contest if they were to open it to the public, because he does a lot of championships in dunking as well. So I think we should give everybody a shot. You know, now that we see that the NBA players aren't really interested, it's not really enticing for them anymore. Just open it to the public. Put a reward, you know, $1 million for the winner, $500,000 for second place, $250,000 for third place. Like, make it worthwhile and make it entertaining again. Because at the end of the day, these professionals are also entertainers, and when it comes to All-Star Weekend, it's all about the entertainment and bringing the clout to the organization. So they need to do what they can to kind of up the viewers, because I feel like the dunk contest, everybody went to go make popcorn. It wasn't really anything that they were
Man, I was so disappointed. So hopefully, I think also too, even if they don't decide to do the amateur, I did, because that's a shot in the dark. But
yeah,
I think that there's still ways. I'm not sure really what that looks like, but I think that there's still ways that they can make the dunk contest enticing for NBA players to want to do it, because like you said, it's just kind of lost its luster just with how I feel like a lot of times now, at least with the past few dunk contests, it's been more of a popularity contest and more of a like a, let's see how can we get the most like shocking reaction on social media, like instead of going with the obvious choice of who should win, like let's go with just the choice that's going to throw everybody for it. Like, and that takes a lot of the luster out of it, which is why a lot of the main talent is like, I'm not about to, if I'm going to be out here risking, injury and stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to do that just to, be ripped off just because, you want to make a splash on, you want to make a colorful headline on social media. Like, that's not fair to me. So like, I think it needs to get back to the roots of like how it used to be, like where it's like who deserves to win wins. Like, whoever's putting on that show is like, that's gonna be the foregone conclusion for for a winner. But listen, Adam Silver, hear me and hear me good. Don't you ever put on a display, have those kind of individuals. Listen, they were not prepared for. I don't know if they went out and partied too much the night before. I don't know.
Because there was a lot of that going on in All-Star Weekend.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Dwayne Wade came to the broadcast and lost his voice completely, and I'm like, dude, you're about to do a broadcast and you go out all night and smoking cigars, smoking hookah probably, and you had no voice for
probably had some drinks, reminisced on old time. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like come on. But so going on, moving from the dunk contest, let's talk about the actual game on Sunday. Wardell Stephen Curry left Earth. Like, he left Earth and did not return until the game was over. Like, he once those first couple of 3-pointers went in, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna have one of those ones, because the first couple 3-pointers were like the degree of difficulty. I was like, yo, he like those boos like motivated him. Like they put a battery in his back because he was like, okay.
Oh, he's hated in Cleveland. You already know, like with that rivalry between the Cavaliers and Golden State, he's hated. But I think that just kind of stirred the pot even more when it came to Curry, because he was cooking.
Oh man, it put a supercharged battery in his back, and he was just like, okay, you want to boo me? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you I understand why you're booing me, and it's like, I'm gonna remind you of the pain that I have caused this franchise over the course of how many ever years. But I've always said this about Stephen Curry. He is the greatest shooter I've ever seen with my own two eyes. There's no second. There's nobody that comes close. There's nobody that compares. Even from back in the, I don't care what legend you want to stack up against him. He is the greatest shooter I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, he hit a turnaround 3 from half court.
Oh, he was just playing with them half the game. He was just playing.
I was sitting there literally with my mouth agape, like for a good 3 minutes after that, because I was just like, how do you shoot a half court 3-pointer? Like, not like, as a basketball player, we've all attempted the half court shot. Like, we've done the 3-2-1 and just launched it, but we watch to make sure that we either miss or it goes in. He shot the ball and just took off running. And it was like, what? Like, how do you even do? Listen.
He was showing out. I think he heard from Allie LaFleur, who was covering on the court, like that Klay Thompson held the record for shooting the most or making the most threes in a quarter in an All-Star game or something like that. And he definitely wanted to top that. So Wardell, Stephen Curry, you are the 3-point king. I don't think anybody in the league could touch you on that right now. I don't see anybody catching up to you. I still think you have 3-4 more seasons to go before you even think about retirement, because like Tom Brady, you're doing this instead of this. So old time, father time or whatever they like to reference it as is not going to be in effect. I think Steph Curry still looks like he's 12.
Babyface assassin.
Continue putting them up, and it was an impressive run on the All-Star weekend. I know this isn't a super competitive game between them, but LeBron's team stacked up. When I saw that roster, I was like, ooh, I felt like Team KD was a lot of baby faces, and then LeBron, he orchestrated it perfectly, where he's like, nah, I need the veterans that are hot right now. So he went and picked up the players that are already having an impressive season. So great win for LeBron. But let's move on to the subject of LeBron possibly returning back to Cleveland if little Bronny gets drafted. If I'm not mistaken, I think little Bronny's turning 17, so I think it might be at least 2 more seasons before he even enters into the league. So do you think LeBron is going to be playing legitimate basketball for another 2 seasons? Do you really think he's trying to hold out for little Bronny to join him in the league?
I definitely think he does, because this is something that he's been talking about for a while, even before Bronny was in high school. How he wanted the possibility of playing with his son. So I definitely think that he's serious about doing that. What that entails, or what it's going to look like as far as LeBron James himself is going to be interesting, because at the end of the day, let's say it's 2 years. So LeBron's 37 right now, so that would make him 39 at the time that would happen.
And that would be 20 years in the NBA. So
and that would be 20. I think that would be 20. I think he's in year 19 right now, so I think it'd be 21.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken. Okay. My thing is this: I don't want Bron to be in the league longer than he quote unquote needs to be, and because I don't want to see the LeBron James era of where he's when Patrick Ewing went to the Orlando Magic, and it was like, come on, man.
It was a total fizzle out. It was a total
I don't want Bron to be a shell of himself. If he's gonna be able to at least play at not even because he's playing at an elite level right now. He's punching Father Time in the face. He's just you're not gonna defeat me. But if he's playing maybe at 2 notches below what he's playing right now, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But if it's to a point where, like I said, it comes to the Patrick Ewing in Orlando Magic situation, it's I know he want to play with Bronny for historic reasons and just to have that moment between father and son, and I get that. And this is from a Bron fan. I love Bron. That's my guy. But I don't want to see a shell of himself. I don't want to see you be a shell of yourself. Like, I don't want to see the just completely fizzled out decline Bron. Like, I still want to see like elite level compete for a championship Bron. And I don't, like I said, I'm just not sure what that looks like 2 years from now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because it's not even about him to be able to continue to play at the same level, but I mean, we've been noticing that LeBron's getting hurt every season, and the older you are, the harder it is to recover and come back at the same level. So, is it realistic for LeBron to play for 2 more seasons until Bronny gets here? I mean, I don't hold anything past LeBron James. I mean, King James, he's been doing it for so long. I don't see him slowing down. I believe he's averaging 25 points in the last stretch of the season. So is it possible? Absolutely. I mean, will it happen? We don't know. I think is he going to stay a LA Laker after this season? Now that's something that's been a big question, because with Anthony Street Clothes Davis now going to be out for the next 4 weeks with this, I believe it's a foot strain that he's dealing with right now. I think that if the Lakers don't get in with this play-in tournament in the playoffs, I think LeBron might be done with LA. So will he go to OKC or another team that he could possibly be playing with his son in the next coming years? That would be interesting to see. But I think right now he's really concentrated on what is happening with LA. I think Frank Vogel, the head coach for the Lakers, has his hands full now that Anthony Davis is going to be out. Who knows if he's going to be available for a long stretch in this play-in tournament? I mean, I would hate to go up against a team in the West that is more competitive than the Lakers in this play-in tournament, because then we could possibly see them not even make a playoff run. So a lot of question marks surrounding the LA Lakers and where they stand with Anthony Davis out for the next 4 weeks, before he gets reevaluated again, and who knows when the timeline of his return is going to be. I think the Lakers personally should trade Anthony Davis as he still has his capital, since he's still going to be worth a lot right now, and go get some key pieces to help Russ, to help LeBron, to help Carmelo Anthony. There's a lot to do in LA to fix up their problems.
Absolutely. I think that it's gonna be interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be really interesting with LA, because I could definitely see, I could see Bron leaving the Lakers, but I could also see him staying, because I think he likes LA. I think he likes the business that he's been able to create out in LA, the opportunities that are available in LA, the weather. I mean, I think people. This is an underrated fact about LeBron and decision making. They also got to consider what Savannah James wants to do, because she is a big influence in his life, and as far as like what he is, because it's also a part of what she wants, and not just what he wants.
Yeah.
So you got to consider that as well. The thing with Anthony Davis, like, he's definitely not worth as much as they put the onus on him. Like, as much as they gave up for him, I definitely don't think he's proven himself to be worth that. But I wouldn't pull the trigger on quote unquote trading him. I would try to get rid of Russ for as soon as possible, because if anything, like, when Anthony Davis is healthy or even semi healthy, like, they're a better team than when they have Russ, who's fully healthy. Like, let's call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? They have an aging roster. They need to get young. Like you said, there's a lot of things that they have to address in LA as far as to get them back to being just at least contending. Because right now they're not in contention. They're a play-in tournament team at best. Even if they're able to get that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of things to fix with the Lakers, but I mean, we'll see. Like, it's gonna be an interesting next few years for sure. Like, definitely a lot of stuff to pay attention to. But
man, we got Tom Brady talking about retirement. We got LeBron James on the verge of retirement. Like, I don't like this. I'm starting to feel a little aged at this point, man. Like, we have these 22-year-olds in the league, like, shutting it down, and I'm over here like, man, this is making me feel old, but like, keep it coming. The young talent it's impressive.
It definitely is. I totally agree, and I just want to throw this out there. As we get ready to wrap up the show here, the day that LeBron retires, I need for everyone to send me all the prayers and well wishes. I need you.
We gotta check in on Sensei.
You're really gonna have to check on me, because I'm going to be somewhere in the corner bawling my eyes out. You don't understand. Like I have been a LeBron fan since he was at St. Vincent St. Mary, since I first saw him play against Carmelo Anthony when he was at Oak Hill on national TV. Like that was my first exposure to Bron. Like this is before he was even in the NBA. Like I remember him getting suspended for the jerseys and the Hummer, and I remember I remember so many things. So I just want everyone to know here at the ASAP Network, fans of the Sports Senseis, the day that LeBron James retires is going to be one of the hardest days of my life. And I'm going to need all the hugs and just because I'm going to be like, the thought of it makes me sad.
I'll send you chocolates. I'll send you flowers. I'll definitely check in on you a couple times. It's going to be a rough week. I think the whole world's going to be in shock. LeBron James, announcement of retirement. Man. I mean, what is he going to do after? I mean, that's kind of a question that we've been thinking about Tom Brady too. Like, are we going to see him in the broadcast booth? Are we going to see them in ownerships of these teams? Are we going to see them coaching? It's just weird to think about, to see them, doing anything other than what we've been seeing them do for almost 2 decades. So, yeah, that day eventually is going to come. Damian Hernandez says, the day LeBron retires, I'll be throwing a street party. So,
and
I don't know, Damian, a party of celebration that he's retiring.
Screw you. Okay, screw you. That's what I have to say to Damian. Damian, anytime I comment on LeBron, he has something negative to say. So you know what, Damian? You throw your shit. You throw a street party, Damian. I'm shutting it. I'm
probably going to throw a party. I'm probably going to throw a party too, but, now that Sensei is expressing how she's going to feel, it's probably going to be a pity party. So,
yes, listen, emotions, so many emotions. But yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in to the show today. My girl, Root to Truth, my sis, it's so good to have you back, sis. Don't leave us like that again, please.
I'm back. Yeah, the next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit crazy. But no worries. I'm probably going to have to do the show from the airport next Monday. I'm doing a lot of traveling in the next couple weeks. But don't worry. Sure. I'll pay for internet on Delta Airlines. It's only like $6 for an hour. And we're going to continue putting in this great content, because fire content only here at ASAP Network.
This is what we do. It's just what we do. And shout out to our girl, Jay Nicole. She is watching. Appreciate you supporting and showing us love, sis. Get well soon. We miss you so much. Make sure you come back to us as soon as you can. But this will wrap up another episode of the Sports Senseis. We will be back Monday instead of Tuesday next week. So make sure you guys tune in. We're going to have a fire show, just packed with good content that we always provide and that we always bring. So
yes, and your girl is going to be at the National Scouting Combine next week in Indianapolis. So we are going to have we're going to have live content coming from the Combine. So just stay locked in at the ASAP Network with the Sports Senseis. You guys have a great night. We are over and out. Sensei, always great to talk to you. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely, sis. We out of here. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Whole sports, all plays. Yeah. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.